Welcome to Sober and Lit,
the podcast for women who want to get sober, stay sober, and live a life that's way more lit than it ever was with wine.
We're your hosts, Ruby and Susan, two alcohol freedom coaches keeping it real with stories, tools, and zero judgment.
Whether you're sober curious or all in, you're in the right place.
Let's feel lit, alcohol free.
Welcome to the Sober and Lit podcast. Hi, I'm Coach Susan. I'm here with Coach Ruby, and we are super excited to be here again with you today. We absolutely love doing this podcast, right, Ruby?
Absolutely. We're just saying that. It makes us so happy. We feel so good after we record, and yeah, we love it.
So we are excited about our topic today, which is around this myth of that you need to hit some sort of rock bottom in order to decide to question your drinking, make a change from your drinking, or take a break from drinking. And yeah, when I talk to people out in the world and I'm saying, that I'm a sober coach or, that I just choose not to drink, sometimes you get, these kind of, weird looks or like, oh yeah, this unsure kind of conflicted thing about, their drinking. And I know for myself, I went for a really long time wondering if I needed to do something about my drinking, right? And people have this idea that, like you need to have a DUI or lose your job or, so what do you think, Ruby? What was your story around a rock bottom moment? Did you have one or did you?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And that's exactly what I was telling myself was, well, I haven't had a DUI. I haven't lost my job. I didn't go to jail, or I'm not that bum on the street, with the paper bag and the I'm not that person. So I'm not an alcoholic. That was the term that I used to think I had to, be a bum on the street or have something terrible happen to get help. And I think that keeps us stuck for so long. If we keep, because I was high functioning. I was going to work every day. I was doing my job. I was a mom. I was holding it together, but just barely, I really was just barely holding it together because I knew in my own heart of hearts that my body was not happy. I was not sleeping well. I was not performing probably my best in so many areas of my life. Definitely not living up to my potential. But that whole concept of something terrible must happen. I must, hit that rock bottom before I can ever get help. And I love that this sober movement or this, alcohol-free movement is kind of questioning that. Like, why do it? If I'm not feeling good and I think it's alcohol, why not give it a chance? Like, why not take a break, or why not see if I feel better alcohol free, or see if I feel better after taking a break? But it was all or nothing. It was literally all or nothing. I'm either an alcoholic and I have to wait for this rock bottom. That was what I was thinking. Or I just keep going on functioning, surviving, but not feeling good. Yeah, that's where I was. That was exactly where I was for years and years.
I think that keeps people stuck for a long time. This idea that the number one, alcoholic, the black and white thinking, either you're an alcoholic and you have a problem or you're not. That binary thinking, right? That black and white thinking. I was in the same boat, and I did go to AA. My part of my story is that I asked my pastor, I said, I think I drank a little bit too much. And I went to AA, she said I should go to AA, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm an alcoholic. And that's what I had to ascribe to or say, in order to get help, so to speak. And at that time, it was before the sober curious movement. There weren't really any other options. And so when I left AA going, this is exactly like you said, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't want to label. So then when I walked away from that, I felt just completely alone. And it's just it's so weird because there's so many other things in our life that don't make us feel good. Like you said, like gluten or whatever, and people willingly give those things up and it's no big deal. But alcohol is it's weird or something wrong with you, and that labeling is really the thing. It's something that keeps people so stuck, and it's just not true. After that period, any other time I was thinking maybe I needed to take another break. I was always, because I was so stressed out, that it was like, oh, this isn't a good time because I'm too stressed out, maybe once life calms down. Or also thinking, isn't it normal to use alcohol to take the edge off? Like I need alcohol. Stress is worse. Isn't stress worse than alcohol? And wouldn't it be better for me to drink to bring my stress level down? Like, crazy, and yeah. So
I drank that Kool-Aid too. I thought alcohol relieves stress and I needed it. It was the duct tape to my life. Like I needed it. How was I going to survive without like all my stress? Because my job was stressful. Being a mom was stressful. Like all these things were stressful, but only until I got a whole year alcohol free did I realize it was the alcohol causing the stress. Like
I know
it was keeping me stuck. It keeps you stuck in that cycle.
I totally get that. I agree. Yeah. And also for me, when I left AA, I really did not drink that much for a while. I would only drink on the weekends, but usually when I would drink, I would overdrink. So a little bit part of me was like, I still didn't feel right. I still knew that something wasn't quite right. But then I could always go, well, I only drink on the weekends, so I must be fine.
Yeah. And the question I'll like ask someone when I first meet them, like a potential client, it's kind of like, have you noticed your drinking ramped up? Like maybe you're not drinking every day, or maybe you're not even thinking you're over drinking that much, but how do you feel? And has it ramped up over the years? I mean, that's really like important, like, cause it just keeps going up usually. Because it takes more and more, your tolerance increases. So that's a really good question to ask. Like, are you drinking more than you were drinking last year or, a few years ago? And what I hear a lot is the pandemic was a real instigator for more over drinking. Definitely. I hear that a lot. So if you're there, that you're not alone.
Or, one of the things I would think, and I hear this from people too, is am I overreacting? Sometimes I even get that reaction from people now. Like when I tell them I don't drink, they're like, well, isn't that a little extreme? And I'm like, well, no, why is it extreme to decide? We never say that to people who decide to be vegans, right? Isn't that a little extreme? Or anything else that's health conscious. But, this idea of am I overreacting and looking around and going, well, everybody else drinks like this. So am I just this weirdo that feels uncomfortable about my drinking like this?
Right. But do we really want to wait until we are that bad? Like why do we want to wait until we have had like something horrible happen to us or like a health scare?
Right.
Like, why do we, it's so interesting, but you're not alone again. These are all things that I've heard. I think when I first told my parents, they were like, well, that's not true. I see you drink a couple glasses, here and there. They didn't know though. I was drinking a heck of a lot at home alone, a lot. So it was not an overreaction. It's just, and in the heart of your own hearts where you're at and how you feel. Yeah.
But I think they've also normalized now in the last maybe 15 years that drinking a bottle of wine 3 or 4 nights a week isn't that big a deal. This is what I've read in different Quit Lit. Different moms are like looking at each other and going like, do you drink about a bottle of wine every night? Yeah. It's like, oh, that's no big deal. Yeah, I do too. No big deal. Like you go to book club and everyone brings a bottle and they're all gone. So that means everybody's pretty much drank a bottle. And, so we've normalized that. Like everyone's looking around and going, well, I'm drinking this much, but they are too. So this must be normal.
And I was in the wine industry, so it was like not just one bottle, it was like 2 bottles. Like it ramps up. It just keeps ramping up and you hardly notice it because everybody around you is probably doing the same. Like you said, at book club, mommy's groups, church groups, you name it, it's happening. Yeah.
Right. And as you get older, because we work with a lot of women in their 50s, right? Or 60s, even 40s, you feel kind of crummy, right? With the amount of alcohol that's in your system all the time. But you start to maybe just think, well, I guess this is just how you feel when you get older.
I did that too. And I started to think, oh, I'm like not remembering things. Oh, it's because I'm getting older. And I'm having these pains. Oh, it's because I'm getting older. It definitely, you start to normalize even that, your own feelings, your own body, physical body. And I'm not sleeping well. Oh, it's my hormones. I was blaming everything but alcohol.
Oh, me too. And even though I could see on the nights I did drink, my hot flashes and things were much worse. I slept worse. It's still like I don't know why, but we always give alcohol a pass. It's like, yeah, it's much worse on the nights I drink, but oh well. And because, I was a theater major and everything, they already think I'm a drama queen. But I know a lot of people in my family think I am being dramatic because I, quit drinking, and I guess I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm definitely okay with that. But
me too.
Yeah. But why we have to think that it's dramatic, it's extreme. What I love about the sober curious movement, or this new sobriety movement, is that it's not in the shadows. It's not anonymous, and people are talking about it, and they are bringing up that no, there's no safe or healthy amount of alcohol. No, you don't have to feel like crap just because you're in your 50s. And it actually does affect your menopause in a super negative way, and especially how negative it is for women and our health, and that we, all the information that's starting to get out there for people. So maybe people still think it's an extreme decision, but you have so much more to back it up. Like, well, maybe right. Extreme, but I feel a lot better. So whatever.
Yeah. And if you want to take a break, there's all kinds of dry January, but the sooner the better. The sooner the better, to be honest with you, because alcohol affects, at least for me, my sleep, my anxiety, my gut health, my energy levels, my hormones were out of whack, my emotions were all over the place. It affects so much. And I feel like I was playing Russian roulette with, to be honest with you, cancer. I just really felt like that every night. When I would wake up at that 3 a.m., I would be like, oh my gosh, I would be so worried about my health, and I just would want to stop. So I want you to know that when you get alcohol free, you really do feel so much better. Even just eliminating that, not that of course anything can happen to me still, but I just know that that's not going to be alcohol that's causing that. So I just feel a little more relief, a little more calm when I wake up in the middle of the night. If I'm worrying about something, it's usually not about that. I'm not having the liver pains, the heart pains, and all of that. So if you're there, I really relate. I was there for years.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And this, the outdated idea that we have to hit a rock bottom is harmful. Right? Like you said, why wait till you have a health scare? You have a DUI. You really want to wait? I guess back in the AA days, I remember feeling like I don't have a burning platform. I was looking around the room going, where's somebody who just drinks a little too much white wine? You know what I mean? People there had these dramatic stories and I didn't. But back then we didn't have the term gray area drinking, and we do now. And this idea that you don't have to be physically addicted to alcohol or drinking daily for it to be negatively impacting your life. Maybe you're just drinking more than you want to, or you're drinking to numb your emotions or stress, and it's increasing your anxiety. And those are things to look at. Those are signs that, that you could change your drinking. We don't have to wait to have a burning platform. I did want to share this story. A client told me about this, and this is crazy. Speaking of burning platforms, but a woman and her husband were on a golf cart, and the husband fell off the golf cart. They were in their 60s, fell off the golf cart, hit his head, and died.
Oh, no.
Which is so tragic alone. She lost her husband, and they did a breathalyzer on her, and she blew 1 point over the legal limit, and she was charged with manslaughter. So not only is her husband dead, now she's been charged with manslaughter for being the cause of his death because she was driving a golf cart.
That's drunk. A horrible story. And you do not want to wait for that kind of a thing to happen. And I just want to, define again, gray area drinking, because we have done a couple of episodes around this, but if you haven't listened to them yet, so you're either a every so often drinker, like my grandma would drink once a month or something. She wasn't probably going to become addicted necessarily. But then there's the on the other end, the people that are physically addicted, but only 10% of heavy drinkers are physically addicted, where you need a medical intervention or a medical detox. Everybody else is gray area drinking, and you absolutely have the right to decide maybe alcohol is not feeling good for you, or maybe you don't want to risk health or DUIs or any of these things, and you want to just feel better. You actually can just say, I want to feel better, and I want to give this break a try. Take a break. Take like a 21-day break. See what happens.
Curious. Yeah. And the fact, I also think if you don't want to take a break, that also says something. And I remember playing that game too. Like, would I quit drinking for $1,000? No. $10,000? I was like, I mean, really, if you have to get to that point, like I'm putting a value on it of alcohol. Like if you value alcohol that much that you'd feel like, oh, I couldn't take a break for 2 weeks or 21 days or a month. That's something to think about right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Or if you give it a try and you really can't do it. Like that's where I was, Susan. I would try and I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. I would get to the end of the day and my brain would just say, F it. I would just give in every single time. And so I really did need help. I needed help. There's coaching now, there's communities, there's the Sober Curious movements, there's books, Quit Lit books and this podcast. I mean, there's so many ways to get help now, not feel so alone.
Well, also I think even if you do 30 days and then, so it can flip the other way too. Well, look, I did 30 days just on willpower alone. And then on the first of the month, you're like back to drinking. So it's not just about whether you can stop or stay stopped. And I also do want to address the physiology part. Physically addicted means you need to go to detox because detoxing off of alcohol can be life-threatening, right?
Yes.
But let's face it, we drink to feel a different way in our bodies. We drink to feel that euphoria. We drink to numb our feelings, and that is in our body. So whether we're physically addicted or not, our physiology is... I don't know if I want to use the word addicted, but we're addicted to that feeling, right? We're addicted to using the alcohol for some of these reasons that we use it for. Mm-hmm. So I just want to make that point because, we may not go through withdrawals severe enough to need to go to detox, but we may feel crummy for a few days at the beginning of stopping drinking because our body is going through some withdrawal if we were giving it alcohol on a regular basis. And so, I don't know. I just wanted to make that point too. So people,
thank you.
Don't feel weird if like, I don't feel really good the first week because we are putting a substance in our body that is addictive, period, to everyone, not just some people. It is addictive to everyone. So just like quitting cigarettes is hard, quitting alcohol can be hard and you may need help. And there's tons of smoking cessation programs. And now there's more and more drinking cessation programs. Mm-hmm. And needing help doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, right?
Right. Yeah. And if you're asking yourself this question, I do want to go here because I think what really got me to make a change was finally realizing I was not living up to my full potential. I thought those exact words were in my head a lot. And seeing the future of myself, like just laying on the couch in the evenings like that. I wasn't like learning, growing, like I was just surviving. And I think there's so much to say around living life to the fullest and living to your full potential, understanding, figuring out why are you on this earth? What are you here to do? What is your mission, your passion? Like all of that was just out the door. I would have these ideas. I would have like a glimmer of, I think I want to go back to school and I don't know, learn something, right? And there's no way I could do it because I was just like working, coming home, drinking, and I just couldn't. I think I even tried to like register for a few different classes and I would like do one class and have to just bail out because I couldn't keep it together. And I knew that I just wasn't living. I knew there was more, like the universe or God or whatever you want to say, had so much more for me. And I wanted to figure that out. And you are allowed to just figure that out. And alcohol can be holding you back.
Absolutely. I sometimes, have have discovery calls with clients and they're just like, I'm drinking my life away. That even the term wasted, right? That we're getting wasted. Yeah, we're wasting our potential. We're wasting our time. We're wasting our health on this addictive substance. And yeah, I see so many people when they finally get alcohol out of their system, it's like their purpose finds them. Like this alcohol was like a big boulder between them and the purpose, I believe in God, that God has for them, right? And then it's such a beautiful thing when you roll that boulder away and then that purpose comes to you, when you're ready. It's so amazing.
It is amazing.
Take off. And it's
so
such a beautiful
cool
thing. Yeah.
So taking a break isn't like, I don't want you to think forever. Okay. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm so scared to take a break. I want you to think of it as like an experiment or an exploration, maybe even an adventure, or what's possible, like that kind of like what's possible energy into this. Because what I do know is when I took my first break, it was like an alcohol experiment, which was supposed to be for 30 days. And I was really scared. I had never done anything like that before. Every time I tried on my own, I couldn't do it, like I said earlier. But when you do it with a group of people and you have this energy and momentum and you like get curious and you just see what it's like. I got like 17 days out of the 30 and it was mind blowing, just mind blowing, because I knew that this was the path I wanted to follow. And whether it was going to take, and it took a whole year of working really hard. It was like a year of figuring out, what do I want? Who am I? How can I feel better? What if I have these cravings? What can I do? And yeah, all of these things came up throughout the whole year, but I'm just so thankful that year. We call it the joy is in the journey. And I love that concept because it's so true. And it's just a part of your journey to take a break and have little mindset shifts, start to feel better, start to learn how to soothe yourself, regulate yourself,
yes,
feel the feelings. If you're numbing feelings, and it can be empowering. It really, really can.
Yeah. I feel so much more empowered and learning how to regulate my own nervous system and feel my feelings, even if they're sad feelings. I've had a couple of disappointments lately and I've felt sad and it felt silly to like have a little cry, but that's what I just needed to do. And then I was over it. You know what I mean? Like to feel it though, and not, sometimes I judge things by, I'll say, oh, that would have been a bottle of wine event, you know what I mean, in my past, except, oh, now I can handle this on my own. And how empowering is that to feel like I can handle anything life throws at me.
I had a session with a client who was moving and she was so sad to move and in this home that she loved. And we talked about what the difference would be if you were drinking and having to move and alcohol free and having to move. And she said, I'm feeling the sadness and it's okay. And just like you said, it's okay to feel it. Feel it and feel it. Yeah, that's so amazing. So I guess the bottom line here is that you don't need to fall apart to decide that you want something better for yourself. You're allowed to just be curious and take a break and see what happens. It's not that dramatic. There's a huge sober curious movement out there that if you tap into it, you will not feel like a weirdo. And, you're allowed to change your mind and you're allowed to start whenever you need to. You don't have to wait. You're allowed to start today. You're allowed to start September 1st. Yeah. You're allowed to start whenever. Please don't wait for a rock bottom. Please.
Yes,
like that.
please.
That is like, if you know deep in your heart, like that this is something you want to give a try. Don't wait. Don't wait for like a cancer scare, a DUI, a loss of job, marriage. You don't have to wait for anything major. Just, you want to feel better. Okay. That's it. That's all you have to say is, I want to feel better. And I think it's alcohol and I'm going to like take a break and see if this is true. And
Yeah, I love that. I love that, the way you framed that, Ruby. That's awesome. So this is the time in our podcast when we talk about what's helping us feel lit in our alcohol-free lifestyle. And it's Ruby's turn. And Ruby always has such good ones. So Ruby, what are you doing in your life to help you feel lit?
Great question. What's interesting is in a group that we're in, we're also doing gratitudes every day. And I started to realize just like looking for those little glimmers is what's making me feel good. Like to notice the little tiny joyful moments of gratitude or happiness or just contentment. And a lot of times it happens when I'm in nature, for one, but I call these glimmers. We've used this many times on this podcast, but we're looking for the glimmers. It's so true. Looking for those little moments of gratitude or joy. And that's what I think life is all about. It's not about trying to hang on really tight to like joy for a long period of time. I mean, that would be amazing, but it's about like catching the stars, catching the glimmers, catching and then noticing it and going, I feel it now. And like really noticing, because when you recognize and appreciate the small positive moments of everyday life, just every day, the scent of coffee, or, I have a garden picking my raspberries, and just like, it's just such a pleasure. The color, the scent, the taste, using all your senses can be good, but it's just that brief, moments of joy. It could be joy, calm, connection. Maybe it's like right now I'm connecting to you. Like it does. Actually, I'm having a glimmer moment right now. Mm-hmm. And it just helps you focus maybe from feeling stress or feeling overwhelm or maybe something. And you can just notice, even if you're in a period of life where you're in grief or something, you can notice little glimmers even then. So maybe the warmth on my face, like I love to just go out. I have a deck right over here, between coaching calls, between things, I'll just go out in the sun for like 5 minutes. Or maybe you notice someone smiled or a friend called, or you can listen to a song and that can be a glimmer moment. I just love it. I also love like glitter. I think of glitter and glimmer and shiny things. But it can really just foster a sense of well-being. Yeah. What do you think, Susan? Do you like the glimmer concept also?
Yeah, I love that. Sometimes, I'll go for a walk and just look up at the sky and just be so amazed at the colors, or look at the clouds and notice the leaves. Instead of just, I'm on my walk, boom, 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 and just not paying attention to any of those things. I love my garden as well, and go out and trim my roses, and just, taking the moment to, feel the sun on my arms, look at the beauty and the color of, even though I'm deadheading the roses, it's like the beautiful color, and feel the grass underneath my feet, these simple pleasures. When we did that one of our gratitude practice, it was beautiful what people in our group posted, about what their simple little thing was. And sometimes it was just holding their paintbrush because they loved painting. So that simple thing of holding a paintbrush was something to be grateful for, or just the smallest things, which is so beautiful. Yeah.
And that's where life is happening, in the present moment, when you're noticing those small little moments of positive or high vibe emotions. It's truly where life is, in the present moment. Yeah. I know we're getting a little esoteric here, but
no, I don't think so. Because, and guess what keeps you out of the present moment? Alcohol.
True.
You are not present. We talked about how the shades come down. Even my moments of feeling sadness this past week around something that was disappointing, I could just feel it in my body, and the privilege of feeling it and like letting it out. Like now I'm fine. But if I'd kept pushing it down, it comes out in weird ways. It comes out in defensive ways. It comes out in anger. It comes out, but just by, allowing myself to feel it, have a little cry, talk to my husband about it, and being grateful even for that. Grateful that I feel my emotions. Yeah. Because I used to just not want to feel anything, and yeah. Well, so even sad things.
I know. Well, Oh, we mentioned a couple times that we are doing a 21-day reset, and it's called Feel It 21. And it's where Susan and I are going to there'll be one coaching call a week. So you can be with us live. We're starting September 1st. We'd love for you to join. It's just a way for you to dip your toe in, give this a try. There's no expectation that you'd have 21 days in a row alcohol free, but just give it a try. Maybe you have one day.
Yeah. Maybe you will. Some people start and they go, whoa, it was easier than I thought. Wow. Yeah. And I feel so much better. You never know. Yeah. We're there for both, and, it's all good. So yeah, we'd love to have you join us. And so, there's links in the show notes, or just email one of us and get in touch, and we would love to see you there.
Yeah. All right. So again, don't wait for rock bottom. Give this a try.
Yes. Yeah.
We do this work because we want everyone to feel better. And alcohol was the thing that kept us from reaching our full potential and kept us stuck. So we just would love to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Sober and Lit podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review. It really helps get the word out.
And remember, do something today to help you feel lit.
See you next week.
Don't forget, join Feel It 21 Live starting September 1st.